Welcome in the 24th episode. Today we will add sounds implementation to our game. If you want to help support this channel, hit the subscribe button below this video, turn on notification so you will not miss any future video I release. So let's get started. First of all, let's open our project and then we will have to add a few scripts. So let's go to our scripts folder and then right click, create C# script, and I will call the script Sound Manager. Let's open the script. Okay, and then first of all, right at the top of this class, let's add some attribute. So required component, and let's put type of. And we want to make sure whenever we attach the script to any of the game object, we want to make sure that the audio source component will be automatically attached to the same game object. Okay, so then when we reference this component in our script, there is a guarantee that we will have this component in. So this is just for the safety if we forgot. Okay, so let's remove these comments, and then let's add at the top a few public variables, actually private variables. So first one will be private bool. Let's put mute background music, and I will set it to false, and then private bool mute sound effects. Will be equal to false. Okay, so we're gonna split our sounds in two parts. First one will be the looping sound, the loop sound which will be played in the background, and the other one will be the sound on the button press or when we actually dragging our letters in our game. So we can mute each of them. So that's why we need two variables. Then let's reference public static, and let's put sound manager, and I will call it instance. Okay, then let's add the awake function. So private void awake. Okay, and then let's add one more private variables. So private audio source, and I will just call it audio source. Okay, so inside the awake function, we want to make sure our instance is assigned to this object. So if the instance is equal to null, we want to do the instance equal to this, and then we want to call don't destroy unload this inside our else statement. So if the instance is already assigned, we want to just destroy this. Okay, so by doing that, we are making sure there will be only one instance of this class in our game. So now let's go to our start method, and inside the start method we want to assign our audio source. So audio source will be equal to get component, and we want to get component of the type of the audio source, and then we want to just put audio source.play. Okay, let's remove now the update function. Let's add the function toggle background music. So public void toggle background music, and then I will just call the mute background music will be equal to, and then let's put the exclamation mark and then mute background music. Okay, so we wanna just do the opposite. If our background music is already true, by negating it, we will set it to false. If there is the other way around, we're gonna set it to true. Okay, so make sure you just put this exclamation mark in the front. And then if our mute background music, so if it's equal to true, we want to do the audio source dot stop. and then otherwise we want to put the audio source.play. Okay, and then let's create another function, public void, and let's put the toggle sound FX. So this is sound effect. Okay, and then we want to do the same, underscore mute sound FX will be equal to opposite of our mute sound effect. Okay, and then we actually want to create one more game event to our game. So let's quickly go to our game events class, and then right at the bottom I will just copy this game over and I will just paste it below, and then I will just rename it. So there will be toggle sound FX. Okay, and make sure you rename all of these classes. So toggle sound effect, on toggle sound effect method, and then let's copy this. Okay, so make sure you name all of the classes with the same name. So we have created the toggle sound effect event. Let's switch back now. Let's save everything and switch back to our sound manager. And in our toggle sound FX function, we want to call the game events dot on toggle sound FX method. Okay, and for some reason it's not recognized. Let's go back to our game events. Okay, we didn't put on, so I will just put on toggle sound effect method. I will just copy this name, save this class, and go to our sounds manager, and now everything is fine. Okay, so that's it for this function. Let's create some helper functions. So public bool is sound FX muted, and we want to just return mute sound effects. And then there is one more function which we want to actually make our volume be 0. So we don't want to stop the sound, we just want to make it silence, especially for the looping sound in background. So public void silence background music, and then let's put input bool silence. Probably the pronunciation, the spelling of this is wrong, but doesn't really matter. If our background music is equal to false, make sure you put double equal sign, and then if silence, we want to do the audio source dot volume will be equal to 0f, and then otherwise audio source dot volume will be equal to 1f. Okay, and the advantage of silencing our background music in this way is that we're not stopping the music itself. If you want to disable your music, you can set the volume to 0, but the music is still playing in the background, but you just can't hear it. And then when you start the music, you're not starting it from the beginning, you're just starting it from the point where it's actually playing. So the sounds sound more natural. Okay, so this is the way to do it, but you can of course kill music, so by doing the toggle sounds music. So let's save everything now, and now let's go back to Unity. Okay, and now inside our menu scene, let's right click in a hierarchy, and then let's create empty, and I will call this object background music. And now let's grab our sounds manager, drop it into the background music, and as you see, our audio source is added automatically because we have put the required component into our script, and our script is added as well. Okay, so that looks okay. Now we need to put the audio clip for the background. And I didn't attach any audio clip to the package you have downloaded due to the licensing of each of the sounds I had. So there is plenty of free resources where you can get the sounds from. One of them is actually the Orange Free Sounds. So as you can see, this is the website. I will put a link to this website in the description below this video, so we can go and have a look yourself. And you have like plenty of the sounds effect here, like that. You can just browse through all of the sounds. As you see, there's 299 pages of the sounds effect. You have some loops. So there are some nice loops. You have some musics, background musics. So I'm sure you can find something for yourself. And then if you go into each individual sounds, you can buy it or you can free download it. Just go through the licensing and make sure it can be used for your purpose. So let's say I wanna take this cinematic piano sound. So I will just click this free download. As you see, the cinematic sounds has been downloaded. Show in folder. I will just cut it from here. I will go back to my Unity. I will right click in the script, show in the folder. Inside my Words by Tutorial asset, I will just right click, new folder, and I will just call this folder sounds. Okay, let's open this folder, let's paste the sounds in. I will just right click and then extract all. Extract. Then we can delete this zip file. And over here you should have the cinematic MP3 file. And there is a README file. So as you see, this song is permitted for non-commercial use. Okay, so you can find the song which actually allow you to use commercially. Just go through the license and make sure the licensing is fine. Okay, so once you unzip your file, your sound, whatever it is, I will go back to Unity, and Unity should start importing the sounds, and then you should have the sounds folder in your project, and there will be your sound. So now we can grab our background music script, grab our sound and drop it into the audio clip. Okay, and then make sure you have ticked play on awake. So now when you start your game, the background music should play, and then when you go to the next scene, as you see, the background music is still playing. So the background music will not be killed by any chance. Okay, maybe this is not the best loop I've chosen, but you can find good loops and you can replace it. So I probably replace it later. So let's stop the game. So now let's add some buttons to actually switch between the sounds. So let's first of all save everything, so file save, and then let's go to our scenes, and then let's go to the settings. So inside the settings scene, let's go under the canvas, and then right click on the canvas, UI button, and I will just call this button mute background sound. Mute background sound. Let's go and delete this text component, and then let's right click on this mute background sound button, go to the UI image, and I will just call this one button sprite. Button sprite. Okay, so we have our button in. Let's now go to our graphics and then sounds button, and let's grab our slice 3 and drop it into the source image. Okay, as you see, we have our source image below. Let's hit the set native size. Let's actually move this button a bit up. And now let's click on the button sprite, and then let's grab our slice 2 and drop it into the source image. and hit set native size. So we have our button created. So now let's move this button actually to the enable position. So I will just manipulate the X value and move it over here. So in this position will be enabled. Okay, so we have our button created. Now let's add some scripts. So let's go to the scripts, right click, create C# script, and I will call this script sound toggle button. Let's open the script. Okay, and then inside the script, let's first of all add using statement. So right at the top, using Unity engine.ui, and then let's remove these comments. Let's remove this update method because we won't need it. And then right at the top, I will first of all add public class, public enum, and this enum will be button type. Button type. Okay, and then we should have two types of the button. One will be background music, and the other one will be sound effects. Sound effects. Okay, let's put the comma here, and then let's put public button type, and I will call it type. Then below public sprite, and this is gonna be on sprite, and then public sprite off sprite. And then below, let's put public game object, and I will call this one button, and then public vector3 of button position, and then private vector3, I will put underscore on button position. Okay, and then one more variable, private image, and I will just call this one image. Okay, let's separate the private from public, and then let's go to our start method, and first of all let's assign our image to be equal to get component and image. Then let's do the image dot sprite will be equal to on sprite, then on button position will be equal to button dot get component rect transform dot unhort position. Okay, and then let's call function toggle button. Okay, we don't have this function yet, so let's quickly create it. Okay, so below I have this toggle button function, which is returning void, and make sure this function is actually public, not private. Okay, so make this function public, and then I will just remove this line of code. Okay, and then inside this function we want to check if the type is equal to button type dot background music. And before we do that, actually we need to create a variable, so var muted equal false, and then if that's the case, we want to call muted will be equal to sound manager dot instance dot is background music playing. We didn't create this function yet, so let's quickly go back to our sound manager class, and right above the is sound effects muted we want to create public bool is background music muted, and then return mute background music. Okay, make sure you save, and then go back to our toggle sound button, and then inside our toggle button function we want to call sound manager.instance.is background music muted, and then otherwise muted will be equal to sound manager.instance.is sound effects muted. Okay, and then let's go down and then put if muted we want to assign our image sprite, image.sprite will be equal to off sprite, and then button.get component, and we want to get the rect transform dot unhot position will be equal to off button position, and then otherwise we want to open the braces, image dot sprite will be equal to on sprite, and then button dot get component rect transform dot unhot position will be equal to on button position. Okay, so we just want to switch the positions. So let's save everything now, and now let's go to our game utility, and we want to create one more function here. So public void, and I will call this function mute toggle background music, and then we want to call the sound manager dot instance dot toggle background music. Okay, let's save everything now. Let's go back to Unity. Now let's click on our mute background sound, and then let's grab our sound toggle button class and drop it into this object. Okay, so we have it. Then from the type, let's select this background music, because this is the background music. On sprite, we want to go to our graphics, then sounds button, and then on sprite will be our slice 3, and then off sprite will be slice 1, and then bottom will be our bottom sprite, which is here. Okay, so this is our bottom sprite, so this is our bottom. So make sure everything is assigned, and then we want to grab our off position. So I will do so by manipulating actually the position of the bottom. So let's select our bottom sprite and then move it on the X position. So when the bottom will be off, I want to move it here. So this is going to be -44.5. So I will just copy this X value, and I will just select the background sound music button, go back to our sounds toggle button, and then inside the off position, inside the X value, I will just paste it in. Okay, and then let's select our bottom sprite, and then let's move it back. So this is when the music will be on. So let's select our music background sound button, and then inside our on click event, I will just click this small plus, and then let's grab our main camera, drop it here, and from the functions, let's select the game utility, mute toggle background music. And then let's click this plus again, grab our sounds toggle button script, drop it here, and from the functions, let's select the sounds toggle button, and then toggle button. Okay, make sure you call those two functions. And now we can go to the file and then save. And then we need to switch back to our main menu in order to test this implementation. So let's go back to our scenes folder, main menu, let's press play. As you can hear, the sounds is playing. Go to the settings, And then when you switch this button, the sound is not playing any longer. When you switch it back, the sounds start playing again. So you can really play with these settings. So when you stop the sound and go back to the main menu, the sounds start playing. So this is a book. So let's stop this project. Let's go back to our main menu. Let's select the background music. And this is because we have selected play on awake. So whenever we switch the scene, the sound is playing. So uncheck this box and then check the loop box. Okay, so we are making sure the sound will be looping when it's finished. So now let's check this game again. Let's press play. Go to the settings, silence the sound, go back to main menu, and as you see, the sound is not playing. So the sound implementation, at least for the background music, is looking okay. So that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we will start to implement the sound FX button, and we're gonna apply some sounds for our selecting squares and for our ticking clock as well. So that's it for this episode. Again, if you want to help support this channel, hit the subscribe button below this video, turn on notifications so you will be informed whenever I release my new episode. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next episode.